Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Geek First Podcast, episode 270. Ooh, I'm the mysterious Trask now.
And I am your friendly neighborhood caster, Kirkland Patzer.
I think I used the mysterious one on the very first trailer, but it's
Yeah.
fine because I'm
Yeah.
going to do it the whole way through because we got Mysterio in one. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is a newscast, but really this is just a Spider-Man trailer newscast. It's just two of us. We just said this is history. First time ever just you and me doing a cast.
The Wonder Twins.
Yeah, the Wonder Twins. Hashtag it. Briggs is somewhere out in the universe. Dylan came back for one cast and then left again. Taylor has strep throat. So there was supposed to be more of us, but it's kind of like we had our Infinity War. Someone snapped, and it's just me and Kirkland. We got to go get the other members in between now and Detective Pikachu. But that's what I'm saying. Detective Pikachu, just a few plugs, and we're going to get in the trailer. That review is coming out sometime between Thursday and Sunday. I'm not sure when because there's Mother's Day happening, so we're trying to narrow down a date, but there will be within this before next Monday, there will be a Detective Pikachu. Well, I shouldn't say next Monday because people don't know when I'm recording this. Before May 13th, there'll be some Detective Pikachu review / spoilers discussion. You know how we do, so we do that. X2 is dropping in a couple days, the X2 Retro. Everyone, thanks for supporting that. I think
thank you.
Yeah, the X1's getting close to topping our biggest retro, but X2... They all get pretty good. There's some wild ones, maybe there's some great ones too.
I'd say near the end it gets a little wild. I feel like we ended on a pretty strong note, but like near the end it got a little
Kyle ended on a
rails.
great note.
Yes, he did.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I'd say definitely check them all because you want to be there for the journey, and we're only doing 6 movies in honor of Dark Phoenix, but you want to be there for those X3 Origin era movie because there's a lot to talk about.
Great debates.
And then this weekend, you can check it out. The Geek for Scotland Sports Tournament dropped. And I have to say that I have a bucket list of things I've wanted to do this season. Beating Taylor is one of them. And I'm sorry, Kirkland, but getting that title off you is another one. And I got to go through this tournament. But I'm coming for you if I win. I'm letting you know that.
Oh yeah, no, I appreciate you being honest, and I expect nothing less than for you to bring your all.
Are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm always ready, man. I'm ready. You could wake me up at 2 a.m. and I'd be wearing that belt.
Oh, that happened last November at the 24-hour stream, pretty much. Except you're waking up Taylor, and
that's right.
Taylor's still salty about that because each 24-hour stream he's lost a title at God-forsaken hour, so he's cursed there. I do have to ask you one personal question: Why is my brother your new manager?
I feel like
he didn't need to come into any of this. He's a weird cat, and I feel like now if I go against you for the title, you have a little bit of a personal edge going on.
Absolutely. Take away like the bloodline between you two. It's just he's great, unbiased opinions towards me. Good. He's a good guy to have in my corner. And then you throw in the feud that you guys, you haven't always gotten along. And then obviously me and you are going for the main title. So have someone like that I know I can trust. I know he's not going to be on your side. It's perfect.
Well, I respect your new attitude and everything like that. I took a route at one point to do that and get some wins, but it's not going to last too long. I don't care.
We'll see how it goes.
I don't care if my whole family's managing you. I'm gonna get that title off you.
Should be a good one.
But also I'm gonna get is my Spider-Man Far From Home tickets because I'm pretty excited. It's coming out on a Tuesday. Did you see that screen cap I sent you?
I saw.
For us, the first showing is on a Tuesday at 12 in the afternoon.
Yeah, not all of us don't work in the middle of the day, though.
I know, but I'm going to try and find a way to be sick. I was so mad. My boss didn't know I had a podcast. I've been working there come on 5 years now, and last year was my 4th year. And finally someone told me, oh, you have a podcast now? It's like, great. Good thing he would probably never tune in any of these. He probably will now. But there's been a few times. You get sick days. You get paid sick days. I use those. I just am maybe not sick when I use them. I just need to do E3. So maybe the only problem is that the Far From Home movie now comes out for a good thing for you American viewers. And we're about to break it down. Don't worry. I know people are, why ain't you even talked about it? Just wait. For us, Canada is July 1st.
Right.
So it's quite annoying that we're going to have a holiday on July 1st and then the day back is Spider-Man.
That does suck.
I wish it was July 1st because then we'd be great. We'd go see the movie together, then go to fireworks. It'd be a great day.
That would have been good, yeah.
Yeah, but
that is unfortunate.
We're going to have to figure it out somehow. But Kirkland, what did you think about this trailer? Because and I guess I should preference because the trailer also does this. We're going to be talking pretty heavy Endgame spoilers, so I'm sorry again because last week, check out our Endgame review.
Yes,
4.5 hours. Thank you for that.
4 hours and 37 minutes.
Yeah, we've broken every single record, which is nuts. Keep going. It's still in the top 200. And then last week, me, Briggs, and Dylan did a great like Phase 4 predictions cast. One, check that because you can hear Dylan's review. But two, we just talked a lot about what could happen here, what could happen there after Endgame. So I'm sorry that this is going to be the third week in a row where we are going to be talking Endgame spoilers. But the trailer you kind of have to because I'm going to let you go first. But literally the first shot of this trailer is boom, mural of Iron Man. And it's just like, well, if you didn't see Endgame, this is it for you.
It's a good thing they had Tom Holland in there, the little advisory. Because, very first shot. I don't know. If you were just scrolling through and you're like, oh, Spider-Man trailer, I'm going to watch this. You would have been ruined.
Boom. Yeah. What did you think about this trailer?
I was pretty blown away, I'm not going to lie. Especially, like I've already mentioned you off cast, this movie just feels so different from the last movie. The last movie is just like kind of I don't know, friendly neighborhood Spider-Man
Definitely
movie.
Smaller scale.
Yeah, smaller. Like you have Michael Keaton, the Vulture. It's not like world-ending villain though. Whereas this one, they briefly mentioned like the multiverse effect, and then like just the impact that the snap has had on everyone. So you and I were already saying that it kind of feels like a I don't know 0.5 movie added on to an Endgame, or like I don't want to call it a sequel because it's not all about the Avengers, but it's just more about that story. So
it's like epilogue. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, totally.
It kind of feels like no spoilers for Kirkland, who is never going to finish Red Dead Redemption 2. But maybe when the certain story ends, you take over as a certain character.
Oh.
And a lot of
spoilers.
you knew this, and that's what this feels like. It feels like it's gonna be in a movie of its own, but it feels like this is a lot of closure for Endgame as well. So, and Feige said during the press tour, this is officially the end of Phase 3. So this will be the last one, and then we'll get whatever's coming next, which I think will be Black Widow after that. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah. But yeah, just talking about this now. Even just the trailers alone, like the first trailer we got for this movie. Obviously, I understand why they did it now because it's so Endgame like inspired, I guess, this trailer, and then I guess that's kind of what the whole movie's gonna be about. Whereas the last trailer, like they just kind of show off Mysterio. He's looking pretty cool. Spider-Man's on this trip. We have no idea why he's there, or I don't know. Did they
school
say
trip? I imagine.
Yeah,
they didn't say, but I would assume.
Here now they said it's like vacation. It's not for school trip, I believe, and so it was just great to get more details. I'm way more excited for this movie than I was. Like I was already. I've always been a Spider-Man guy. Like that's always been my number one hero. But I don't know, just probably in the wake of Endgame, I'm just pretty shook. So now this is going to be, like I quote, a little epilogue for Endgame. I'm just that much more excited. Plus, I don't know, you get to see the characters that we got, I don't know, kind of grow to love in Homecoming. I don't know, I feel like they all kind of got good chemistry between them. It's kind of interesting seeing this interpretation of Flash, since Flash has always kind of been like the bully, like jock dude. And this one, I don't really know what you would call him. He's just kind of one of the gang.
Yeah, he's the friend that no one likes, but he's a part of the crew somehow. He's that Dane Cook joke when you all go out and he shows up to the mall and it's like, oh, is that? I can't remember. It's like, oh, is that Peter? Like, how'd Peter get here?
I remember that one.
Hey guys. Hey. Oh no.
Yeah, but no. Overall, I really like this trailer. I like the little shots of just the different action scenes of like the different villains. Like, I don't want to call was that Sandman?
Well, I think they're calling them the Elementals, so I feel it's not Sandman, but I feel I don't think we'll ever get a Sandman in this universe because it seems too similar. I think he has a different name because and even the fire guy, because I'm pretty sure there's a villain named Molten Man, but then there's something different. I'll try and find out their exact names, but it's not supposed to be Sandman exactly.
Okay. Yeah. No. So it was interesting seeing like the action shots.
Not the Eternals, sorry, the Elementals.
Yeah, the Eternals. What's that from?
That's a Marvel movie coming out in a few years. Yeah. That's like a space cosmic sort of movie.
Oh, okay, yes.
Slip of the tongue.
Yeah. But no, it was great to see like the action shots of like those new villains, I guess they would be. And then this one, because before in the last trailer we were kind of just guessing the Mysterio, like I don't know, like whether he'd be evil or good. This one, I don't know, it's kind of thrown in your face that he is a good guy. Although it kind of goes to that one, I think it was him that said it even. It was like, sometimes you got to make sacrifices. Classic bad guy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even like, I've seen a couple of memes online. This is actually, I just watched this trailer like 5 minutes ago. So today at work, there were some people kind of talking about the trailer. And they're kind of guessing what the Mysterio, like whether he'd be good or bad, right? But
They've not read any comics or seen any animated shows.
no, yeah, exactly. I was gonna say I saw a meme today. It was just like following that pattern where like Peter, he always
I
meets.
posted in the group chat.
Oh, okay, that's where I saw it.
40-year-old middle-aged white man who like is a inspiration or whatnot, and it showed like Toby with Willem Dafoe and Andrew Garfield with Lizard, and yeah, it's the classic trope of Peter trusts like villain. Put villain's name here. Peter trusts this villain. Villain turns for some reason. Yeah.
It's such like a common pattern. So like, I'm not saying it takes away from it at all because I'm really excited to see this movie. I like all the actors in it. I like what I've seen from this trailer. But it's just a funny pattern that I don't know. Some people might get irked from it. I kind of do an eye roll and just go along with it. But no, yeah, it's pretty funny that they especially like showed Jake Gyllenhaal like saying that too, like in the trailer. It's just like, oh, sometimes people have to make sacrifice. So I feel like it'll just get to that point where they're kind of working together and the Peter will just have to take him out at the end. That'll be the end battle. That's my guess.
Yeah. So yeah, I liked the trailer. I think because I have some notes about it. I think the trailer overall is good. I think it does do a good job of showing it is what we talk about, kind of a sequel to Endgame. These are all sequels, but it seems like it's right after. We have some quotes in the director too that's right after. I have more problems with I think Sony sometimes reveals too much, and we'll get into it, but I think it's a nitpick thing, but I don't know if we needed to show MJ knowing that he's Spider-Man in the trailer.
Yeah.
It's just stuff
I agree.
Because there's so much already going on that Sony's just great at doing that stuff. They love putting in we're getting the multiverse, we're getting elementals, we're getting Mysterio, Nick Fury's in this trailer a lot. I don't think that was added. I think they may put in there to show that something fun is still going on between those two, but I think the whole fun was supposed to be him trying to make a move, right? Like he likes her, she likes her. So I'll get into that after, but I like the trailer. It's good. I think I like the trailer more just because it has lots of good questions. And honestly, I said this in the review of Endgame. I'm just happy that it's just like another episode of the MCU show. Yeah. It's all cherries on top, and especially it's the biggest cherry because we've talked about for a while, but I've also just my whole life wanted to see a live action Mysterio. So the fact that it's here and Jake Gyllenhaal looks so good. Yeah. He looks so good in this trailer.
Like even better than the last one.
Yeah.
Like the last one, I feel like it was kind of
they're hiding him a little bit.
Yeah, like they showed the fishbowl right at the end, but it wasn't like a close-up view, but like, oh, it looks so good. And then that's a good point because like Mysterio's always been one of my favorite, if not my favorites. No, I can't say that because Venom's in there, but I gotta say like he's one of my favorites.
I think he's top 5 for me. Yeah, he's not my favorite Spider-Man villain, but I'd say comic books he's one of my favorite. Yeah. I think I'm always even though I'm wearing a Venom tank top guy right now, I'm always a Norman guy. I love the Green Goblin. I love the glider. Like anybody who has pumpkin bombs as a weapon, you're doing something right. I know people love lightsabers, but man, I would love to have a pumpkin bomb. You know, you just push the little, push the little. What would the top be called
when
you push the stem and it lights up? Come on now, and
so good. They did such a good job in like the original Spider-Man. Oh, I know. They look so good.
I know people didn't like that costume. I liked it. I like everything Green Goblin and whatnot, which we're going to talk about. So I want to talk about what I think is the biggest thing right now. So the multiverse. They've brought this in and that's the other thing, right? You said this offcast where this seems different even than from the first trailer. First trailer, it just seemed Peter's on vacation and he bumps into some bad guys, Mysterio, whatever. But now we have Nick Fury's in this trailer a lot, Happy's in this trailer a lot, and then they say Mysterio is from Earth but not this Earth, and that the snap created a multiverse, different dimensions. And then I'm guessing and the director, that's one quote, he says that the elementals are also from where Mysterio's from. Okay. What do you think about that? Because obviously we played around with that in Endgame, but this is diving deeper into that.
Yeah, I like it actually because something I never really would have guessed from the snap. Like obviously they go over it in Endgame, like just the magnitude of power that actually came from that snap. Yeah. So like it kind of makes sense that with that amount of power, like, I don't know, it could have, I don't really know much about quantum physics and all that stuff, but like it could easily, but like it easily could have just like tore a fabric of space to make like a different portal, right? So it was interesting them introducing that. It's something I never would have really guessed, but it fits with what's been going on. So I'm down for it.
Yeah. So I really want it. I'm somebody that likes that multiverse stuff. I think it can get kind of messy, but I think you just got to narrow it down, right? I think this would be a door to open it, but not necessarily it's going to be a huge thing. Like, I don't think it'll be in every Marvel film. I want to dive more deep into it, and I got some questions, but I guess my worry is because I saw this trailer, and even since I saw the first one, and you and I both know Mysterio is a tricky guy.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming.
I think I know where you're going.
I'm hoping that I want the multiverse, and I'm thinking it's real because Nick Fury is the one that says, "Oh, he's from a different Earth," and they're talking to him. But my biggest worry, and not worry, but I think what they could do is that Mysterio is not. There is no multiverse going on.
That's a good point.
Because my hope is really that there is a multiverse, but Mysterio is lying about being from it, or he is from it, but he is a villain in that world, or something like that. So I just think with Mysterio, I'm not going to believe it until I watch the movie and the movie's over and they didn't say that was a lie, because that is a big lie to pull off. But Mysterio is he's always up to no good. He's just a two-faced guy. So I am very worried because I like the idea of the multiverse.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wouldn't be the same, but something like Spider-Verse, I'm a big fan of. I liked all the things that happened in Endgame with setting up different things or going back in time. So I think it does certain stuff. Like, I one day would love to see Spider-Gwen in the MCU, you know, and that's what this does. But I just worry that. And I guess my only other thing is maybe because they're just talking about it in the trailer that they wouldn't do that. But my worry is that there is something tomfoolery going on here.
That's a smart point, actually. Especially like with the Mysterio character, he is all about just like deceiving people, right?
Yeah.
Just like a magician. Like,
and he's not using special effects in this movie, so I feel like how else is he gonna?
He's got a glider. He stole it from Norman.
Well, yeah. How else is he gonna pull the wool over Peter's eyes?
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm definitely interested in. If it goes that route, I'm in your camp though, whereas I actually kind of want to see the multiverse, because the thing that kind of separates, or for me, like from the original, or sorry, let me rephrase that. Like going back to like the original Spider-Man, whereas those didn't really feel like a comic book movie. It just felt like a superhero movie. I know it kind of sounds ridiculous, but like they're totally different in their own ways. Whereas like a comic book, like you have all those different multiverses. Like basically anything can happen. Like they do it so many times in comics. Like they do it so many times in comics where it's like, oh, there's no way for this to happen. Oh, they just went to another like multiverse and then it kind of fixed it. It's like, okay. And obviously like when it keeps reoccurring, you do a little eye roll, but at the end of the day, it's a comic book. So whatever. But this one, if they actually did do that multiverse, it totally would be interweaving. Obviously, MCU's been doing such a good job as at bringing that comic book feel to these MCU movies. So with them introducing this multiverse, it's totally could make sense to me, especially since they've kind of been already, I don't know,
they just dabbled in it a little bit. Yeah,
like thinning the line between comic book movie and a comic book. So I agree with you though. I don't want to see them just like slam the door wide open and just have all these multiverse things coming in at once, but like kind of do a little bit at a time, like the Mysterio aspect, and then not have just like, oh, since this happened in Spider-Man, every single MCU movie is going to have this, right? But like do it smartly, and I trust MCU. They're really smart the way they do it.
That's the way I think about it. This is kind of Endgame was kind of an introduction to that, but it's not like they introduced multiple timelines and quantum and time travel and whatnot, but they didn't introduce a multiverse exactly. Where this character, and this is where now after I'll stop the speculation, but if he is from Mysterio, if Mysterio is from another world, is that another dimension, or is that just a full on a different planet like we have in the comics, right? Like a Spider-Gwen and whatnot. So I think this would kind of open that door more, but I don't think that. I think they would use this as a further introduction of that. And as long as it's explained well, look at Endgame, it's doing very well. So I think people can buy it. Even Spider-Verse, they did it in a way that I think really works. So I don't think this would be, from now on it's multidimensional and you got everything. And I don't think they meant it to do this because they didn't have the rights. But this is a way that you could factor in Fantastic Four and X-Men as well. This is something I pitched last week as well, that I thought Deadpool would have MCU elements, but he wouldn't be in the MCU. I didn't think he would be in the Avengers and whatnot, but they'd want to have him interact with Tom Holland, Spider-Man, etc. This is the way you kind of do that, you know?
That'd be great. Could you just imagine Ryan Reynolds coming through a portal or something?
I always said it, it's like the reverse, right? Because I don't think they want Deadpool around their MCU, the Avengers, because I just think if they want to keep him radar, it's a little strange. But I think you could bring certain characters into his world. You could bring Downey playing Iron Man from a different dimension into that. So it's like we still have closure over there, but I've always wanted to see, Deadpool and Downey, Reynolds and Downey act off each other. So I think that could happen. So yeah, I don't know if it is a trick. I'm just gonna go in with that thought until this happens. So, and if it's not a trick, why is he there and why is the elementals there? And they have not confirmed this at all. But in the what is it? Oh, in a photo they released a few weeks ago, Mysterio has a wedding ring on. So do you have any idea what his story? Do you have any theories what you think his story could be? Let's say, and I'll kibosh if the multi-universe isn't a trick. If it's not a trick, what is going on? Because he's already hooked up with Nick Fury. He's
Yeah, jeez. I wish I prepared a little bit more for that question.
That's a loaded one.
That is a loaded one. I don't know. I don't really know like how to start my speculation on like his origin story and how I mean, if you go by what they said, like the snap kind of created a rift, but I feel like he kind of knew that he had to go through to help his world or save the other world. I don't know.
Yeah, because I'm wondering and that's why I'm wondering why he's there, but I feel like the elementals are there. Oh, and I have all their names. Hang on. They're not, it's not Salmon or what was that? It's Hellfire, Hydrant, Magma, and...
Hydrant?
No, Hydron. Yeah, I said Hydrant and Hydron,
Hydron Collider, there you go. Multiverse.
And then, what was I going to say? Zephyr? Zephyr. Zephyr?
That's probably wind.
Boom.
Yeah.
See, that's why we've had enough conversation today about, screw up and autocorrects and whatnot. It's such a joyous of my life here at the Geekverse.
They're savage in the group chat.
Oh,
now.
I know. I make a spelling mistake, and I said this to the people in the group. You can't just message me privately. We have to just go, and no one changes it themselves too. Kyle, lazy bastard.
I've done it. I've been the silent wanderer that just fixes it. Doesn't make a whole hassle about it.
I've done it too with Taylor, but next time it happens, I'm gonna screenshot it and zoom in and be like, look what you spelled wrong. So I am wondering how I feel with him in the trailer talking about sacrifices. I do feel classic Spider-Man villain. He's probably lost his wife. Yeah. I'm assuming he's married, but it's just he has a wedding ring on his hand. So I'm assuming that they're gonna have very similar situations where they've both lost somebody. And I don't know if that's gonna be the case, but I wonder in this parallel universe if that Spider-Man, because does he have a Spider-Man in that universe? And
you think
does he
would
have a Fury?
Maybe he's got a Spider-Gwen or something.
Well, and that's why I wonder if there is a Fury over there, if that Fury somehow led to his wife's death or something like that. So he's been carrying in some animosity, but
that would make a lot of sense though,
Yeah.
because especially I gotta ask, how many times have you seen this trailer?
3 times.
3 times. Okay.
Yeah.
Because obviously,
I've been thinking
I
about it all
totally
day.
missed the wedding ring.
Oh, that's not in this. That's in a photo that released a few weeks. That photo you were looking at.
It wasn't
Remember when
in
you're
the
like that evil crew
Yeah,
guy?
when you shake. Okay.
Yeah. If you zoom in, he has it there. So yeah.
I digress. But no, that would totally just like match the theme of classic Spider-Man or just any real superhero movie. Or I guess a well-written one where the villain, like, there's a reason he's being an asshole, right?
Yeah.
It's not just he was born all crabby, like, whether, especially if it was like a loved one, like it is his wife, it would, I don't know, make him not just try to just like ruin the day, but just try and do it really smartly and like, I don't know, methodically. That is a good question though, whether or not it would be the multiverse Nick Fury or the multiverse Spider-Man that kind of
the white Nick Fury.
Yeah, there you go. That like kind of, I don't know, makes him have more bad intentions towards those other characters. But I don't know. I feel like going into it, just following the Mysterio character, how he is kind of a trickster, I feel like he will have some nefarious plans behind the scenes that obviously he's not telling everyone.
I think he's gonna, when he turns this movie, he's gonna turn hard and not just be a murderous, but I just cannot wait to see Gyllenhaal play the evil Mysterio.
It's gonna be
and
good.
I think it's gonna be very similar to. I think it will follow a similar beat in Spider-Man Homecoming when we found out that Keaton was the dad and Vulture. I think it will be that where Spidey will find out, and then he's just going to turn and be super villainous. And I think he will have good motivation because Michael Keaton did in Spider-Man Homecoming. So I think that, and especially I've said this in the Endgame review prediction, I can't remember, but I think now with Tony dead, Mysterio is going to be that surrogate father now. I've lost Tony. Here's another older, science, whatever
especially
guy.
if he had lost someone that really cares about him. It's that middle ground.
And that's what I mean. Maybe he's lying about his wife too, because it's like, I don't trust anything with Mysterio. I really don't. Like, I can't trust him as far as I could throw him, and that could be another reason why in one universe, and like we've always dealt with him as a special effects guy, there's a chance maybe he does have actual powers now if it is a multi-universe. Yeah, I'm very excited. And I was gonna show the other scene that I liked as far as them bonding. There's that one moment where they're just sitting at a bar talking, and I don't know. It's funny because obviously they say something, but they're in a bar. I don't know. I don't know if it's a bar, but it's just funny. They're both on, like they have a mask off. They're just sitting there in their costumes. But he just asks, "What do you want?" And that's why I can't wait to see what Mysterio's game is. If he is truly caring about Spider-Man. If something happened in his universe, if it's something that he was a villain in his universe and he's trying to do better. I don't know, but I like that. I like so far the scenes that it seems like he's gonna be he's gonna be like Tony, but more like the wacky uncle. That's gonna be. I feel like he's almost gonna be not deliberately trying to talk him out of being Spider-Man, but in the trailer in the bar, he's like, "Oh, what do you want?" And Spider goes, "Oh, I just want to be back on the trip with MJ, this girl I like." So I wonder if he's going to be more, I guess, kind of the devil on his shoulder, being, "Oh, you could do this. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this." So, and especially because the trailer too, they keep talking about the next Iron Man, and I don't know, does Mysterio want to be that? And
yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like. Obviously, like the cops kind of made that joke because he is wearing the Iron Spider suit, so he does kind of look like Spider-Man, or sorry, Iron Man. But also, I feel like I don't know, he's always kind of had like Tony as his Iron Man, so he knows if shit hits the fan, I always got my superhero, right? Whereas that superhero's gone now, and then they kind of touch on that where it's just like, don't they have like Thor or Captain Marvel, blah blah blah? It's just like, no, like you are the new Iron Man. I quote, or my little quotations, I don't quote. But I am intrigued to find out more about just the relation between Mysterio and Peter, because I don't know if it'll.
It could go lots of ways.
It could definitely go lots of ways. Kind of following the pattern though, it's just like Peter does kind of, I don't know, like really like this new 40-year-old age guy.
Yeah. And I was going to say, it'll go lots of ways, the specifics, but I think from Peter's side, it'll be the same old trust somebody, turns their back on him. Like, even then, we just got the Spider-Man PS4 game again, it's just
I was going to mention that.
It's just a very, very classic trope, which I'm fine with because that's kind of Spider-Man. Because to me, Spider-Man he's always trying to see the best in people. So that's why to me, he's also gullible and he's a kid. So to me, it always makes sense that he's trying to, help this person or think the best of them, but it usually doesn't go well.
But following the patterns, I could totally see this movie going the same way. Just how like the PS4 Spider-Man ends. It's just like he's trying to save his buddy. His buddy's kind of whack, so he just has to finish him.
Yeah.
If that happens, I'll probably still love it because it's all about the ride, not the end destination. But I don't know. I am kind of hoping that there is something that I'm not expecting. It's a little tricky since I don't know, we've seen a lot of Mysterio. We kind of know his patterns of the way he likes to do things. Man, it would be so bold if this whole like Elementals is just just a trick from Mysterio.
Oh, I think it is.
Yeah?
I think it's I said this the very first trailer. I think it's Syndrome Incredibles that he is doing this situation. Because like I said, maybe it's something in the multiverse where his multiverse was just out to kill him and he jumped over, and maybe he was a villain on his multiverse, on his Earth, and he wants to try and change it, so he's gonna be a hero over here. Like, and that's what I mean. I feel like anything could be a ploy from him. I'm gonna if you had to do a yes or no answer to the multiverse, if it being real, what would you do?
Oh, do I have money on it or just full
fun?
No,
house money.
House money?
Or, yeah. You got a gun in your head. It's Kevin Feige for some reason. He's like, "What do you think? Like, it's a trick or not?"
Well, on one side of the spectrum, I do really want it to be multiverse because it opens so many more things that we can do with the MCU. But at the other end of the spectrum, you got Mysterio holding that multiverse. Like, if it wasn't, if it wasn't Mysterio in this movie and they mentioned multiverse, I would have been like, okay, this is full on multiverse. But with something like that going on, who knows, right? So it's all smoke and meters, but. If Kevin Feige had a gun to my head, I'm going to say, is this going to be like a Kirkland told you so? Hashtag Travis told you so?
I'll say yes or no, but I'm not saying I told you so because I'm not confident either way.
Okay. I'm going to say it is not a multiverse.
I'm going to say it is, even though, and maybe it's just because I want it to be. But I feel like I could be completely wrong because my only going for it is that it's so much, it's a lot in the trailer. So I go, oh, maybe they won't backpedal that way, but at the same point, Iron Man 3 was all about the certain actor was the Mandarin, and then in the middle of the movie, they do a twist and that actor's not the Mandarin. It's a whole different thing. So I Actually, I'm gonna agree with you. I'm gonna go no. I'm gonna say I'm like I said, I'm hoping that there is, and the twist is that he's just lying about his involvement, or maybe he's just
He's just a good guy.
or I don't think that. Maybe he's just a guy from our Earth, and he's just lying. He's just lying, and he just thought he had a good opportunity. What if this has popped in my mind? I'm not doing a trash toy soul on this. What if he's an evil Peter Parker from
Man, Jake Gyllenhaal as Spider-Man? Give me that movie.
Well, he was cast as Spider-Man. Well, in Spider-Man 2, Tobey almost didn't do it because he had a back injury. So they said if Tobey wasn't,
they were to recast, for
and it was going to be Jake Gyllenhaal.
Wow.
Yeah, you never knew that.
I kind of I didn't know that, but I kind of need to picture what he looks like at that age because Jake Gyllenhaal's gone through he's gone through some changes over the years.
So yeah, maybe he's an evil Peter, and that'd just be some wild stuff.
That would be so wild.
That's
especially like a shout out back to Spider-Man 2, how he was almost cast. That would be funny if they did that.
So it's like that's the thing with it because people be like, Sam Jackson says his name's Quentin Beck. If he's from a multiple universe, he could change his name whenever it wants to be. So that's the thing. Like I said, my hope is that it's a multi-universe, but his involvement is a lie. I don't want it to be the multi-universe is a lie. I'll be a little disappointed if that's the case, but I'll get why they'll do it because it's Mysterio.
Yeah.
But I am hoping. I got my fingers crossed that
I'm
this is
100% hoping it is.
Yeah.
But since it's house money, I gotta house always wins.
Because that's also that's also a way that you could easily do Fantastic Four and X-Men, and you could bring those characters together when they need to be, but then you could put them on their own other Earth. Because I've always wondered how you're gonna do Magneto. We're just doing the X-Men retro right now, and I've always said his origin is he takes place in the Nazi Germany era, right? And it's like you can't do that now or he's going to be 90, but they could do a parallel universe where, in that universe, that is the story.
Well, yeah.
And if there's a big person like Galactus that's eating worlds or planets or maybe universes now, that's how you can bring people together. But I'm not sure if they want to go that route. But I don't think that's what they planned, but they have it there if it is true, the multiverse.
Especially since they touched upon that Endgame. Like when you go to another universe, like you're going back in time sometimes, you're going, I don't know, forward in times. I don't think that happened yet, but I don't know. It just works different ways.
Okay, how do you feel about the MJ knowing reveal?
I think we mentioned this off cast. I'm not too fond of it. I think you mentioned it. It was kind of just like a Sony showing too much.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
It reminded me a little because you can go back to the Homecoming trailers. I was pretty mad because I felt they showed a lot in those trailers. I will give credit that I feel that they don't show the order of things. I think we do kind of know, okay, begin the movie, he's sad in New York, he goes on a trip, there's these monsters, and he meets Mysterio. But then I feel like that's kind of the cutoff point. I feel like where with Spider-Man Homecoming, I literally felt you could...
It was like an order, too.
That's the thing. You could see, okay, he's Spider-Man, he gets his suit taken away, he goes and fights Vulture. You could literally go back to our cast, because we talked about it at one point, and I was proud of myself. I laid it out, and then when I saw the movie, like, this was it. And I was really disappointed, and that's the thing with the MJ one. I don't know if they needed to do that.
No. I don't know. I'm also one of those people that when they showed the Endgame trailer and they showed that little, like, one-on-one with... They didn't even say anything. It was just like Thor and Captain Marvel, how they had that little stare down.
Yeah.
I didn't think they needed to add it in there. Obviously, it's pretty minor. I don't know. Like, it's not like a spoiler, right? But like for this one though, again, it's not really a spoiler, but it kind of, now I know that MJ knows he's Spider-Man, so that just takes away from so much of it.
And how do you feel about the actual decision? Because we've had two where we've had the original trilogy was a big build up to MJ knowing, and then in Amazing Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy found out right away. So how do you feel about... And now, I don't know. We'll get to Aunt May because I have some statements from the directors too. They said that she was snapped. I was under the impression that she wasn't snapped for years. I swear I'd seen that, but I guess she was snapped. So that kind of saves a lot of her emotional torture if she would have had 5 years without Peter.
Especially like they don't have to recast or like make her older, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess they wouldn't recast her.
Yeah. But she knows, and then Ned knows, and now MJ knows. I feel that
quite a few people.
Yeah, I don't, and because especially there's not many heroes we have that don't like. What heroes do we have left that don't have a secret identity? I don't like.
Yeah,
I think T'Challa as Black Panther. I think it's like on the down low. I think people know, but like I think not everyone knows, but enough people. It's kind of like don't ask, don't tell. Like no one in Wakanda is like, oh, he's Black Panther, right? And it's like, yeah, I think he is. Just like because I don't know, but like you look at Captain America, you look at Iron Man, you look at Black Widow, they're all public. So that's the other thing. I just don't know in this universe if I needed MJ knowing as well.
No, yeah, that is a good point. Like I don't really have an issue with her knowing because that kind of was I mean, I don't really want to just call it a pattern, but like you mentioned, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, Gwen Stacy knew like right away, and then obviously in like the first trilogy, it was kind of a build up. So this one, I don't know. It's tough to say because obviously I would have liked to see the reveal and kind of a build up to it in the movie itself, not just on my phone like watching the trailer.
Yeah.
So it kind of, I don't know, I feel like it kind of takes away from like the big moment that would be the reveal. I don't know.
I'm wondering because we kind of laughed about this when we saw Endgame and we saw it because we're like, oh, they shouldn't have showed Tony, but it happened really quickly. I don't think that's going to be the first 5 minutes of the movie, but is there a chance that the MJ reveal maybe happens really early on in the movie, like maybe first night of the trip or something? Because that way, I still don't wish I saw it, but that way it can at least soften the blow. But if it's supposed to be a big thing more in the middle of half the movie, I don't know. I like I said, no matter what the context is, I wish I didn't see it because it's just that could have been a fun, and especially the way she calls them out of just, oh, I know it's obvious. That could have been a big oh shit moment in the theater, but now, I don't know.
Yeah. I also
unless
feel
they're reversing it and it's a joke.
I was gonna say that's like one thing that they could do because I know MCU's kind of done that before, where they kind of, I don't know, throw you for a loop. But like they could do that, but if they don't do that, I can't really see this being really early in the movie. I don't know, just from the setting, it kind of seems like it's in Europe. I know Europe and North America kind of look the same, but I don't know. I'm also kind of thinking that it's, I don't know. I want to say kind of in the middle of the movie, like after he's met Mysterio, and then he's kind of talking to him about MJ.
It looked nighttime, nice stroll.
Yeah, and then I feel like some things are going on. And he's kind of conflicted that he has to focus on this, but he's also thinking about like his love life and his feelings that he has for MJ.
And it kind of saves them the hassle of him having to explain to her where he is all this time.
Yeah.
You know, because if he's Spider-Man, it's just, okay, you go. Which I think is easier for a screenwriter to do, but sometimes I go, oh, you just don't want to write an excuse
it's
for
one of those eye roll things.
Yeah, which we did have in the last movie, I guess, with Liz, right? He was always saying, oh, I've been doing this or I've been doing this, which they don't really. That's one thing that bugs me about Homecoming. They never this kid is, I think, one of 8 on this chess trip or this whatever trip, and he goes missing for an entire night, and nothing happens, nothing. And he gets back, they're just like, we won, Peter, and nothing happens. You know, he gets suspended, but
they're in like a different city too.
Oh, I know. it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. But yeah, overall, I actually do really like Zendaya as MJ, so I do like their chemistry between those two. But overall, for the reveal, if that is what they do, I'm a little let down, especially the way that they showed it in the trailer.
Yeah.
But
I need to be sold on MJ still because it's a very different take. I didn't get enough from Homecoming for me to like or dislike. It was very much... I remember seeing it just feeling, okay, this is MJ now, and it's so different. I don't even know. And I guess they had friendly chemistry. I have to see how they did have romantic chemistry.
They didn't really have romantic chemistry at all because he was kind of liking that other girl.
Yeah.
And then it was just like one of the friends, I guess.
And romantic chemistry is a whole different thing. So that's the thing. They could. I'm not saying they have chemistry or don't, but that's the thing where it could work as friendly. But the second they do that, it's like, I don't know. So that one needs to still. I'm still sitting on that one. I'm still on the fence.
It is interesting.
Sitting on the fence.
It is. It is interesting though because in the first movie, I didn't really like get any romantic chemistry from those two, whereas in this one they already explained in the trailer that that's what's going on.
Both trailers have been really. I like MJ and I think she likes me. It's not, and it's fine. It's not a build up. I imagine maybe that's happening very early on because these kids were both snapped, so maybe they're just like, well, no time to waste.
Life's short.
Yeah,
might get snapped again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say? Got lots of mention of Iron Man we already talked about, but they do talk about him being the next Iron Man and things like that. I don't know if this is the case. I'm just making a hard read. I do think that I could be wrong, but I do think that they've probably signed a new deal with Sony because we've talked about that was how it was the 5 pictures. It was Civil War, 2 Avengers, 2 Spider-Mans, and after this it's up. I feel like it's gonna be because if the multiverse is real, to introduce the multiverse, there's one moment where Spider-Man has like a hologram, almost like Iron Man repulsor or something that he's working on, and they keep talking about needing to be the next Iron Man, and it's not like they said Thor, Captain Marvel, it's him. I just feel like Feige and the MCU wouldn't do a bunch of this big stuff if this wasn't continuing, you know? And we don't know anything, but I have suspicion that it's already been locked down and they're just waiting to announce it after this movie just to create more hype videos and stuff like that, you know?
I feel like it makes sense from both camps of like Sony and Marvel. Like obviously both sides are benefiting because I don't think Spider-Man's ever really been like. I don't know. I don't want to say he's never been so popular, but it also is just like I guess the hype of Marvel and like they've never really been so popular. Like we're just in the era, like the golden era of comic book movies.
I was gonna say I don't think he's been as popular in this decade. I think the 2000s he was the guy, right? Along with X-Men, that was Spider-Man. Toby, he was one. But then once we hit 2010, we got Garfield. Those ones I think really took a wayside, and everyone was quite disappointed. So I think in this generation, when we started, because we were in 2019, when we started 2010, I think he was lower down, and now I think they've kind of rehabbed him back up.
Yeah,
so.
No, for sure. Yeah. But also, I was thinking for like the PlayStation game, they had because they had like the suits from the MCU and then like the original one. Obviously, it's a video game, so it's not really in the same conversation. But I just thought it was interesting, especially I don't know, just that whole topic of multiverse. It just gets my mind going because it makes me think of like what else are they going to bring into the multiverse? Whether it's I know we'll probably pose the question about like the whole Miles thing, but also just like I don't know, like PlayStation 4 adaptation. How like that was a different Spider-Man, different Peter. I don't know. Maybe they might mention it further down the line if they keep doing the multiverse with, attached to Spider-Man as well as the other Marvel heroes.
I don't know if Feige would bring any of that type of stuff. I don't know if he would do the game or Spider-Verse because I think Feige.
What do you think? Like maybe even just like the suit adaptation, kind of like what they did in multiverse.
Well, I think what you could get because they haven't really touched. But I guess it's a strange thing because Spider-Verse is coming out, and this is one reason why I do think multiverse could be real because I think if they put out the Spider-Man Far From Home movie and they confirm the multiverse is real, I know it's a strange thing to say. It's just because we're in the podcast universe, but I think they like that because it gets people talking, and you'll get 50,000 what if multiverse YouTube videos are like, oh, this hint is towards this character in the multiverse. So I think there's a thing where if they open that up for better or worse, there's tons of people that'll just go talking, and they'll always be in the news cycle. And I think they're smart enough to handle it, right? I don't want them to drown themselves. I don't want the next Spider-Man movie to be like, here's Ben Reilly and here's Spider-Man 2029.
I was going to bring him up, yeah.
I want that stuff. I think that's stuff that would happen gradually, but I think they would use that stuff more on Disney Plus, or it's like that what if TV shows happening. I think it would never be too much of a main focus. I don't know if they would ever do. I don't know. It's tough because there's lots of things I didn't think they'd ever do, and then Endgame happened. So I think that they would. Okay, I'll say this. I would say in this phase, if we get multiverse stuff, I don't think we'll get Spider-Gwen the movie. No. I could see that maybe a few phases from now. I think this is just to try and set it up, see if the general audiences can vibe with it. Because if a bunch of people come walking out of the theater being like, I don't understand that, or I don't like the idea of different universes, they'll just go, oh, that's an idea. We don't have to play with it, right? So I think they're going to tinker with it first and see. Because also in Endgame, Tony does say, I know it was in that movie, but when they do the snap and whatnot and Thanos attacks, he goes, we mess with time, so time's messing with us. So there is that kind of balance in any time travel movie, right? That time travel pushes back. So I could see other movies in the Phase 4 being, oh, you guys mess with the continuity of time travel or our timeline. There's repercussions, right? But I don't know if we'll see Ben Reilly anytime soon, as much as I would love to.
Well,
my biggest worry is Tom Hardy's Venom.
I am glad that you brought up the Disney Plus note, though, because that also, with that on the rise, I feel like if Sony and Marvel did do a contract, like obviously we're on the horizon of Disney Plus coming out, like that just, Spider-Man's just a household name for so many people, like families all around the world, really. And with them introducing the Disney Plus, I feel like it would make sense if they already did have that contract so they could be posting in some like what if series with Spider-Man character.
I wonder how that works because it's with movies we always know that they have a agreement that goes to the theaters, but with the Disney Plus that's primarily TV shows, right? So I wonder how that would work money wise because now I'm saying I don't know if it could happen now, right? No. Unless there's some I guess I'm trying to think what would Sony get in return? Because obviously I don't think they're gonna be like, oh, you can have a share of Disney Plus. I'm trying to think what could Marvel do, and I wonder if it is. They don't need it because Venom actually did well, but I do just worry. It's just like, oh, what if we put Tom Hardy in one of these crossover multiverse movies, and I roll my eyes because I liked Tom Hardy as Venom, but I don't know if I need that universe and Tom Holland. That's my biggest fear. My
that
biggest
carnage in that world.
My biggest fear is Sony not signing the deal and then them putting Tom Holland in that verse and just be like, oh my God, don't do this to me, please. So that's what I'm trying to think. If they did something with Disney Plus, what would Sony get in return, right?
That is a good question. Me as a fan, I just kind of want to see Spider-Man all over that Disney Plus because that would be so easy to do multiverse things. Like you could have a whole Ben Reilly series on there. You could have Spider-Gwen, like
or
all the
even
other
they
characters.
just have one what if episode, right?
Yeah.
Of what if this was that? What if?
Yeah,
blah,
no,
blah, blah.
easily. But when you bring up the logistics of it, it does pose that question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, just like the whole multiverse, like standalone movies, I couldn't really see those being pumped out like successfully.
Not you couldn't see that.
Well, like I don't know, like I feel like the tie to this Spider-Man like is really heavily like on the Avengers and what that's done for Spider-Man, especially since he's had such good chemistry with those characters. So if you just bring in a completely different actor, completely different Spider-Man on like a standalone movie, it would kind of be like the Venom movie, how it is like not really like Spider-Man. He doesn't even have the spider on his chest, but it's just like its own thing. I feel like it might have that effect, so it's not as successful because he's not an Avenger.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I feel like that's why with that stuff they would go the route of Spider-Gwen or something like that, where Gwen Stacy's not in our universe at all, right? So I feel like they do that, or they do like Spider-Man 2099, something that's so different. So it's not just like in Spider-Verse, or you know how you had Peter Parker and the Peter B. Parker. I don't think they'd ever do that where it's very
similar.
Yeah, I don't think they would do. This is another Spider-Man in black and white. Maybe Spider-Man noir, but in which I like the costume in this. I know it's not exactly noir, but it's close enough. I don't think they'd ever do another red and blue with the symbol, or they would do that when they gave it to Miles, and let's say they've moved past Peter Parker. That's when let's go back and do Ben Reilly or do a different Peter Parker, because I know people might be worried about multiverse, but I think, and I am to an extent too, but I think it's just when we talk about how comic movies have to change, eventually if you just keep putting out just hero versus villain, that's the story, eventually people will get bored, because before people wouldn't get bored because we weren't getting 4 or 5 a year, but now when there's so many, you got to be different. So that's why I feel like this is them dipping their toes, and then we'll see it eventually down the line. Just because Endgame just had a lot of that. Endgame had a lot of setting up, this could be that. And they have a show called What If, so I feel like they're trying to get people like our parents with the idea of, this is a different Spider person, but it's not in this timeline. And I love I don't think we'll go that far where we'll get a different version of each movie, but I love the Ultimate Comics. So I think that you could maybe have how this is called the MCU, they'll just rebrand it and they'll call this something else, right? Let's say if it was just called the Ultimate Lines, that's where you could have, you got Spider-Gwen or you got 2099. So I think they're smart enough to do it. It's just, it's another big wall to jump.
No, for sure.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I really like in this trailer. We talked about a little bit how Tony, obviously, both him and Happy, very sad.
Yeah.
I like that it feels like, because that was one of my complaints in Homecoming, that maybe Ben Reilly, that Uncle Ben was maybe a little absent in his presence. I feel that Tony Stark's death is gonna take the place of Uncle Ben. Obviously, Uncle Ben still died, and I'm sure that was a big thing, but they didn't even mention him once. I feel now Iron Man's gonna be his Uncle Ben.
I was okay with it, especially since we've seen Uncle Ben in the last 2 interpretations of Spider-Man, like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. So obviously, if you just keep doing the same thing, it gets a little stale. So I'm okay with it, especially since the impact that those two, the chemistry wise, and then obviously the loss of Iron Man, that had on not just the viewers but Spider-Man himself, because he was a big role model for Tom Holland's Spider-Man. So I'm me personally, I'm okay with Uncle Ben taking a back seat in this interpretation of Spider-Man.
I just wanted a mention of him,
Yeah.
And I feel like they could have, just because I guess I always say
Did
this.
they not mention him at all in the
not
first one?
Not by name at all. Just, I think she just goes, since I lost, and then she kind of breaks down. My always way, and this is a weird way of doing it, so I understand I'm completely kind of cheating the system here. But I guess my idea is, if you show a kid who's never seen any of those Spider-Man's Homecoming, you don't get to see that, right? So if I just showed Gwen, not Toby, not Andrew in this, it'd be there's this Uncle Ben character. It's just because, I guess, because I'm a comics kid and the animated show, it's just Uncle Ben is so much in the bloodline of Spider-Man and who he is. It always grinds my gears. And I said, I didn't need a flashback of him in the alley holding his chest again, but I just want
Toby. Not even Tom Holland.
They just call about that scene and put it in there. What are you doing? They're like, multiverse. But I just wanted a mention, especially there's just at certain moments. I think there's one moment in Homecoming where Peter gets home a little late, and Aunt May says, "Oh, don't you do that to me!" Like she starts freaking out.
Yeah.
I just thought that was a perfect time to have just a quick conversation, a 30-second to minute conversation about Uncle Ben, because I sometimes just feel like that's why they don't talk about him, because we've seen it so much. But still, at the end of the day, I know people hate it, but you got to show Bruce Wayne's parents getting shot. You know why? Because that's why he's Batman. It's like we don't need a whole Batman Begins origin movie, but you do need the pearls are falling again, and
that is a good point. I definitely see your point or your side of it. Because me growing up with Uncle Ben being such like a staple of the Peter Parker character,
great power
comes great responsibility, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, especially if a new kid like never really watched a new kid on the block, like an infant, let's go on. They grew up with this new generation of Spider-Man, and they didn't really know that. They might just think this is the way Spider-Man's already been. Like Iron Man's his Uncle Ben, right? Yeah. So I definitely see your point, and then I definitely agree with you that it could be very easy, like when he comes home late, and then they just do a quick thing. Like they don't have to show the scene, because we have seen it a few times, and then if you keep showing that emotional loss, it's not very emotional because we've seen it so many times.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you that they should at least mention him, just because it's such an integral part to the Peter Parker and like the growth of that character. Obviously, with this Tom Holland interpretation, we haven't really seen that effect on him, because they just failed to even mention him, really. And then we kind of get that from Iron Man. But I would appreciate if they actually mentioned him.
Maybe we'll get it in this movie, because maybe he'll talk about the loss of Uncle Ben comparing to Iron Man. So I'm hoping.
I'd be happy with that, for sure.
So we have some notes from the directors. They did it, or just the director, John Watts. He did an interview after the trailer dropped. So these are just some bigger ones we can talk about quickly. John Watts has said the idea that Spider-Man Far From Home will take place almost immediately after the events of Avengers Endgame. I really like that, because we talked about how seeing the world, and I think there's some other, I'll try and find it too, some quote where he talks about how it is you're going to see some of the day-to-day life of, the snappers return, everything like that. And like we said, Aunt May was snapped, so she's going to come back 5 years. So I imagine that scene at the beginning where it's Happy and Peter on the plane and they're crying and everything like that. I have a feeling he's like bringing him back to New York for the first time they're going to see each other. So, but I like that, because I think Dylan was a little worried if we get to see that in Spider-Man, and I think we will, and I hope there'll be even conversations with the teenagers of, hey, it's a little weird, right?
What's been going on?
Yeah. And they even said, I'll try and find it too, that they'll show other characters. So I'm wondering if the trailer is deceiving some stuff, but they'll show maybe students or people that they knew that are 5 years older now. So
I feel,
I really like that.
Yeah, no, I do too, because obviously we kind of had this discussion on I think it was the Endgame review, where it was like, if, I don't know, like, it's kind of ironic that it's kind of funny that all of Peter's friends just got snapped, so they didn't really lose a friend because they didn't grow up 5 years without them.
Because right now it looks like Ned, MJ, and Flash are all.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm wondering if some of those other people that were around in their group area or their teacher.
Yeah.
Because it does, the quote was just, it will include characters that have aged 5 years following the snap. So what if it's just a complete CGI and MJ's actually not in this movie and she's a whole 5 years older? But
that'd be the biggest. That'd be bigger than them hiding Hulk in the first Infinity War trailer.
Yeah, so I'm excited. I like that we'll see.
I do like that.
I hope that we see conversations about that. I get they want to have a fun time on the trip, but to me it is a big thing. I said this on the review. The heroes are trying to save the world. I need to see the world they're saving. You know? And
otherwise there's no importance.
Yeah,
right?
Because if they don't talk about the snap or the ramifications, then they should have just time traveled and make it when they all came. Like the snap never happened, right? And they didn't. They chose not to do that Endgame. So I hope that means that's why they're gonna get into it.
And since they chose that way, I actually like that way more, because there's more meaning to the snap. Whereas
those movies aren't just it's not X1 to X3 anymore.
Yeah, exactly. They just totally disregard it. But just going back to how the director said, like, this is directly after, I could totally see, like, yes, I agree with you, like the plane scene is him taking him back to New York, and then there's actually a scene in Endgame when Peter goes to school and then he sees Ned, and then they kind of like have like, I could totally see that actually being a scene in this movie where like that's him like getting back to school and they're kind of catching up.
Yeah, because they don't know if each other was snapped or not.
Exactly.
You're going back for the first time ever.
Yeah,
and you're seeing a bunch of kids you don't know. At all
well, like even if you.
What
like,
a weird.
If you're one,
what a weird thing, and especially like obviously he's gonna be dating MJ, but if he wasn't, like all these people were 5 years younger than you, like, oh yeah, you were in because he'd be in high school. It's like, oh yeah, you were in elementary school 5 years ago, and now you're here and you're hitting on me. This is weird. Thanos really screwed up my love life.
No kidding.
Yeah.
But jeez. Oh yeah. Also, like in the end game, we didn't even get to see like the snappers, the people that got snapped. They didn't even like in that movie. Did they even know that 5 years passed?
No, because Peter says it just felt like 5 minutes to him. So
exactly.
none of that. So that's even weirder. So they had no idea, and it's just you're gonna come back into this world that's completely moved. Like I've said before, people that were married and got remarried. There's some. I don't think they'll go that deep in this movie, but there's some really weird stuff that would. Like, what would you do in that situation?
They could totally do like an original like TV series just on the effect of like people's lives.
I hope. I think in the movies it won't, but I think somewhere in Disney Plus, there's a solid in some show one episode of just a guy married and then his wife is back from the snap. And especially if she got snapped and she's in the house. Imagine you're eating dinner with your new family and all of a sudden this woman you were married to 5 years ago just pops back up. It's a crazy world. And that's why I like we're sticking in it. And it was the other quote, they said they'll deal with the ramifications of dusted people coming back to life. So I feel that it's not going to be just, I'm hoping, and I'll ding it marks if it does that. I don't think it's going to be just, oh, well, we're moving on. Everyone's back and life's great, because I think I think we'll have a little bit of that because the characters that are the main characters in this movie are kids and they want to have a fun time. And for them, it was just 5 minutes, right?
Yeah.
But I think that still we should see some lasting effects of it. It sounds like we will, so.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, sorry, I forgot my point. Go ahead.
Boom. And then the last one I have is John Watts confirmed that the Vulture, Liz Toombs, and Miles Morales will not appear in Far From Home. So Liz, I didn't think Liz was. I guess her name is Liz Toombs now, right? She's not Liz Allen. Vulture, I was surprised because I swear we had heard rumors that Michael Keaton was coming back. So maybe they're hiding him because we do got Vulture. We do got Scorpion, and we got Mysterio coming up, and I guess you maybe have Shocker, but I don't need. Maybe he gets a costume.
Forgot about that guy.
Yeah, maybe he'll get a costume, but I'm surprised. So maybe this could just be a director lying and playing close to the chest, but I think it would make sense because I think the only time we would see him would be in an end credit.
That's what I was going to mention. Maybe
him put in a jail cell.
Maybe they'll do like what they did. I think it was at the end of Amazing Spider-Man 2 when they hint at like the Sinister Six.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they'll do the same thing.
They got to be careful. That was a bad luck charm for that movie. So
got canceled.
Maybe they should just Quentin Beck gets put in a prison and he's in the same jail as Vulture. You know? So
not show them all off, like get you all excited.
Yeah, these characters you never met. Oh, they're all on a wall, and okay, that's what we're doing. And then Miles Morales doesn't surprise me because I think we're gonna get Miles in the MCU if they stick with the deal. I think one day you'll get the version of I don't know if they'll go this route, but in the comics, Peter died and gave the mantle to Miles. I think that's the way they're gonna go, and I've seen other people bring up him or Harry Osborn as people that could have aged 5 years, and I don't know the age of Miles. I hope not because I like there being a 10-year difference of Miles and Peter, and I think this is supposed to be, how old's Peter supposed to be? In a 16, 17, 18?
Yeah, like high school or so 18.
Yeah, and Miles we don't know his exact age, but he's supposed to be a little kid homecoming because Donald Glover's his uncle, so I would like that 10-year gap. So I hope he didn't age 5 years.
No,
and if he did, then I hope he was a lot smaller and he's still only like 10 or 11 or something like that.
Especially like since this Spider-Man, Tom Holland, like he's so young already. Like they definitely want to use him for as long as they can. So if they if they're trying to go that route of him handing down the mantle to like Miles, if they did in like the next movie, that would just be so brutal.
Well, that's like I get it, and I do understand it because lots of people want Miles, and it's also the diversity conversation of hey, we would like a change.
Yeah,
but that's where I think you're going to get it. I think MCU is showing that, they're doing a lot more female movies, a lot more diversity as far as race. So I think they're trying to show that we're making changes. We're going to get to that point. But that's why I don't want it to be rushed. I don't want a 20-year-old Peter Parker handing down the mantle because it doesn't mean it much. Yeah. I want it to be like what we got with Downey, where Downey was here for 10, 11 years, and now that he's gone, it felt like we had a lot of time with him. In 10 years, if we're getting that, hey, we're casting Miles, to me, that's good. But when people are like, oh, I hope we see Miles soon, it's like, it's just too soon. And I also just don't want, I know it has worked in Spider-Verse and whatnot, but I don't want them to copy it. So I don't want a movie where it's Peter and Miles together until Peter's about to go off. And maybe that's how they do set. Maybe Peter doesn't die in this continuity. Maybe he does become the new kind of Tony Stark, and he can pass it off to him.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I like that they did say no Miles, because I just don't. I don't think it's time yet. I don't want that to be rushed.
I agree with you, and especially like you brought up the point of just them wanting to do like more diversity type things. You can do that like very easily, but I don't like. You can also just ruin it by forcing it on there. So I do want to. I do obviously want to see Miles, because I've grown to love that character. Seen him in Spider-Verse, and he was in the PS4 game.
He's having a big year.
Yeah. So
not a big Far From Home year, but
no. So I am a fan of like that interpretation of Spider-Man. And I do want to see it done right, but I feel like if they force it, it won't be done right.
Yeah, and I think because I imagine the next video game, I was surprised in having this, but I imagine the next video game could very well end with Peter dying and us taking over as Miles, or I feel like we're at least going to play as Miles.
The Red Dead route.
Yeah, I feel like we're going to play as Miles in some sort of missions as Spider-Man in the next game. So with that, Spider-Verse won Oscar. They're making a sequel to that. I feel it just helps that the more and more Miles is out there, that people like our parents will get affiliated with him. So, and I think even then when we were talking about in Homecoming time, it to me was still early because you got to establish it. Now, I feel like, let's say, even in 5 years, if they did this, people know Miles Morales. They'll know him almost as like his Robin, right? Of, this is the guy who takes over. Where a few years ago, no one knew, people didn't know who Miles is. And still, Spider-Verse, PS4, they're not massive things. But I think as Miles is around the pop culture more, it makes that easier of, because to me, it's not, for me, it's never the problem of, it's a white character passing down the mantle to any color or any race. It's just the idea of you don't want people to think that is a second-rate version, you know? And even if it was a white guy, you don't want it to be, that's why I don't think you'll see anybody in the near future. You wouldn't see Tom Holland be like, I'm Iron Man now, because you don't want to feel this is just the discount version of Iron Man. I think you want to build that up and you want that character to mean something. So that's why I still think they cast Donald Glover as his uncle. I think they did that for a reason. Yeah, it's a shout out because he wanted to play Spider-Man, but I think there's a reason. Is he going to become Prowler like in Spider-Verse? I don't think so, but they have that door open.
I'd be down.
I would be
I want
to
to see it.
Same costume, same music, too. Just take
just
it.
Animated, too.
You got one movie where Toby's Uncle Ben's in it, and then they're just taking things. The next Spider-Man 3 is just like scenes. It's a montage of all these. Have you seen that video go around on Twitter of the What's Up Danger to all the Spider-Mans?
No.
I'll have to send it to you. It's from Spider-Man PS4, Andrew, Toby, and Miles, and it's all their best scenes, and it's What's Up Danger. It's like that montage.
Sick. Yeah, you'll send that to me.
Cool. So, and Tom Holland, of course. But do you have anything else to add on this trailer? Because I think that all my notes are gone from this. Talked about a lot, but if
we definitely kind of went on rants just about Spider-Man in general, but that's what this is all about. It's all about Spider-Man. Just quickly mentioning. Actually, no, I already gave my points on Miles. On this trailer, overall, I really loved it. I love just seeing like the different. I love anytime I get to see a different Spider-Man outfit. I love it. So this one, do you think they're trying to lean towards like the Spider-Man noir effect?
I think it's like a tip of the hat.
Like that's his like Black Widow outfit, where it's like for, like,
I think
Black Ops.
They may call it Spider-Man noir suit, but you're never gonna see the raincoat and the hat.
I would love.
I think I know where you're going.
I was gonna say I love it if he was wearing the suit and then they just do like an Easter egg for the fanfare. Where it's just like he has the hat and then they're like, oh, don't use that or whatever.
I would like that, or if he's trying to escape from somebody and he quickly puts on this jacket.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just any type of like fanfare.
Yeah.
I eat that up.
I don't know if we'll get that, but I do. I always like when Spider-Man gets a new suit, and I like those two because I'm still not a big fan of the MCU's version of the Iron Spider. I just don't. No, I don't like it.
I've never seen it in the comics. Is it?
It's much more smoother because this one looks a lot like the MCU Iron Man. It's just pure Iron Man colors where it's red and kind of gold.
Okay. Is he bulkier? Like more of an Iron Man?
No. He'd be about the same. He's still slender and his arm. He still has the arms and everything like that. So it's in the. Oh right, because you didn't get the DLC for the game.
Shots fired. Yeah, I'm poor.
They did that. Or I'm broke. No. What was I gonna say? So I'm glad that he's clearly leaving that suit at home because it's. I'm not the biggest fan of that suit. I like the OG Spider-Man suit that we got going on in this movie than the Spider-Man Noir suit. And, I'm interested to see why he's using it. Obviously, I know to sneak around, but I mean, like, what is the distinct mission that he's using?
Yeah. No, I'm intrigued. And then I remember when we saw... Actually, was it that suit that we saw like the set photos, or was it another?
That was
one?
the very first. Yeah, in the set photos, very first, it was Mysterio, and we got to see the suit. So yeah,
And it was the black suit.
it was the
Oh,
black
okay.
suit. Yeah.
I couldn't remember if it was more red than what we got to see, but
Mhm.
yeah. Yeah, no, I love anytime I get to see a different Spider-Man suit. So seeing this one, I haven't really seen like the original Iron Spider suit, so I am kind of a fan of this one, especially
Yeah.
since we got it in the PS4 game, and I just love swinging around with it, especially just
Looks
because like
great
the
in
eyes
there.
glow and then
Oh,
like different.
yeah.
It just looks so good at night. But yeah, like I don't know. I'm just so happy I get to see a Fishbowl live action.
Oh, I know.
Especially
Less than 2 months.
Jake Gyllenhaal wearing it too. Like
Yeah.
I absolutely love that actor, and I don't know. I just feel like he's gonna play such a good villain.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know that they're kind of leaning that he should be kind of like the goody or the better. I can't speak words. The good guy. I don't know portrayal, but I don't know. Like every scene that he was like with like Nick Fury or Spider-Man, they're kind of just having a talk. I just didn't trust him. Maybe that's
No,
just
no, no.
me and
No,
like
no, no.
my experience with Mysterio, but I'm just no. It's something seems off.
I just feel like Gyllenhaal's such a good actor that he's gonna. Because sometimes when that turn happens, it feels a little comic bookery or cheesy. I don't think it's gonna feel that way at all. I feel
No,
he's
yeah.
gonna be great and an early kind of hope. So is I really hope he doesn't die in this because I'd like to see him stick around.
Gyllenhaal.
Yeah, I don't know if they are doing Sinister Six or what the idea is, but it's just Mysterio. Seeing that, how do you feel about the Mysterio? Looks like in the bowl, it looks like there's constant like a
Smoke going on.
Yeah, how do you
I
feel
like
about
it. It just seems like a more like modern because obviously in the comics there was no smoke. It was just like you couldn't see through
It's
it.
just like it's just a clear sheet of silver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like I like the new modern take on it.
Yeah.
I don't think
I think
it'll
it makes
ever
sense.
top like the original for me
No,
because
no,
it's
no,
just
yeah.
I don't know. It just reminds me of comic books. And
Yeah.
it's the same effect with like the original like Spider-Man suit. Like no matter if we get like the Stark suit, the Iron suit, they're all awesome. But for me, like my Spider-Man is that original, just red and blue.
Yeah.
Like the small like spider on his back. It's just I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know,
you
it's
always
just,
go back to that.
it's just
one.
OG. Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Oh, anything else?
I don't think so. I'm super excited to see this movie, and I can't wait to do the review.
Yeah, I think we talked about this at the beginning. I'm excited for the review. This just feels I'm just happy it's another Marvel movie already here. Because it's just crazy thing that Endgame's so good to me, and it's just that we're already getting a follow up less than 2 months that also looks like it is answering things in Endgame and being a good Spider-Man story, and at the same time opening new worlds if the multiverse is a real thing.
Yeah.
It just looks like there's so much going on in this movie that I didn't expect. I did just think, okay, we were gonna get just another fun kind of homecoming-esque adventure, right?
Totally.
But and especially after Endgame now, it's changed of like we talked about with the snap and everything. So I'm very excited,
Yeah,
and it just looks such on a grander scale, and I'm very interested to see where it goes.
I can't remember the last movie that like my thoughts on a movie just totally changed from the first to the second trailer. Like the first trailer just totally seemed like a different movie, and then this one, obviously it makes sense because they couldn't show a lot of the Endgame stuff.
Tony's
but
dead.
yeah, but it's just so great. Also, I have one quick question to ask you. Do you think there might be a scene where we get a Robert Downey Jr. appearance, like a hologram or something? I think yes. That's my hashtag Curtin told you so. I'm probably gonna be wrong, but I feel like it might happen. Just to tear at your heartstrings, get some emotion going.
That's tough. So like a hologram that like Morgan got to.
I'm not saying it has to be like the same, like it is a hologram, or if it's just like a video or something that he left for him
so
like years in the past.
here's what-
Just some sort of Robert Downey Jr. like cameo in this movie.
So here's where we'll phrase it. Would it be you're saying a cameo that has new filmed footage that Robert Downey would have done?
yes, and not just a flashback.
Okay. I'm gonna
That's
go.
a better way to
I'm gonna go
phrase it.
no in
Yeah.
this movie
'Kay.
because I feel like they want you to feel that for a little while,
Mhm.
but you could easily have some. Oh, he left you this,
Okay.
and because even though the rumors were wrong, maybe about Vulture, unless he's lying, there were rumors that Pepper was in this, so there's
Okay.
always something. And at the end of the day, as well, I get it. They won't do it because they want Spider-Man to stay, the everyday hero. But if Tony didn't leave him any money, I don't buy that at all. I don't.
He gave it to his mom, that's for sure.
Well,
Or he
yeah,
gave it to Happy.
Yeah. So it's just I feel that they should. That's the one thing. It's kind of tough pill for me to swallow now. They're such good friends. I know they want the classic Spider-Man. Oh, he needs a job, this and that. But at the end of the day, I don't believe that Iron Man at one point who left a bunch of stuff to a random kid in Iron Man 3 wouldn't even give him wouldn't he at
Yeah.
least buy him and his aunt like a place,
Pay off their mortgage. Come on. Be a
Yeah.
good guy.
So if he's struggling for money in this series going forward, it's always gonna be eye roll of me like, Even then, Pepper's like, I'm not gonna help you. I get they don't need to help everyone on their life, but clearly Peter was pretty special to Tony. So
And like Tony's like a Jeff Bezos kind of guy. He is like, fuck you, money.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he'd be fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I guess we'll see. And Spider-Man: Far From Home, less
Yes.
than 2 months away.
July 2nd,
Yeah,
12 o'clock apparently.
yeah. I don't know if hopefully we'll see, but there'll be a review. There'll be a good old spoilers review. So
Right on.
well, Kirkland, thanks for joining me in this Wonder
Yes.
Twins. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me. This has been a fun. I didn't know how it was gonna go because normally on a cast, like I don't know, you are obviously the babble mouth of the cast. I feel like you kind of go on and on. And I kind of just throw in my opinions on things, but it's worked out pretty good.
You
just to
talk
do
more
this.
now,
Yeah, no.
opposed to when we first started to now.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I actually listened to one of our earlier casts. I'm like the guy just like I like turtles.
yeah,
just throwing in my little words, but no, it's fun just growing and getting more comfortable with the mic.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, if you liked what we did here, go back. Like I said, we have our Endgames review, a Phase 4 prediction. We got tons of Marvel stuff. Our X2 Retro will be dropping this week. Follow that series because we'll also be doing Dark Phoenix. There's another comic movie I'm interested to see in for different reasons. But
Too bad Kyle won't be with us. On
I
that
know,
review.
yeah, you can't tell us how great it is, So you'll get that joke if you follow the retro series. If you like what we down, oh my god, if you like what we've done here, what we've done in the past, please go down below and subscribe, whether it's on the Podio feed. So that's all your podcast feeds, wherever, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher, Spotify. We're all the places. YouTube for the video version. If you really like what we do, head over to iTunes and give us a written review. We're trying to hit 200 reviews to hit our next milestone. So we'd really appreciate it if you took just 2 minutes out of your day to do that. And if you really, really like us, head over to Patreon. The X-Men Retro, you could get, I think, by this weekend, you should get every episode up there for $5. Tons of other content, Clone Wars Retros, so lots of stuff on there. So until next time, it'll not be boring.
Thank you.